Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, can help you fuel up fast with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. So something I loved about Factor is I skipped the extra trip to the grocery store, the chopping, the prepping, the cleaning up, while still getting the flavor and nutritional quality you need. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are ready in just 2 minutes, so all you have to do is heat and enjoy. You can head to factormeals.com/Luna50 and use code Luna50 to get 50% off. That's code Luna50 at factormeals.com/Luna50 to get 50% off. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to my sister, Zolita.
Hey, guys. Very happy to be back here.
She was the first episode. She was on the first episode that we ever put out.
Did I have pink hair still?
Yes, you did have pink hair.
That's crazy. I was just thinking that.
Yeah, so now we look a little bit more like sisters. I guess I took over.
Yeah, you took over the color.
I've been taking over. She's back to black. I have my sister on today because I feel like one episode even 2 is not enough. We're going to have multiple episodes together.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. And we kind of touched on it the first episode, but it was mostly like our childhood, my upbringing, just to have you guys know a little bit more about me. But we wanted to talk more on one episode. I wanted to ask her a lot more questions on sexuality, her coming out experience, being lesbian in the community, all of it. Like, we have to cover it all. I know you guys really wanted an episode with just her where I talk about all this stuff. So
Gay stuff.
We
love a gay episode.
Yeah. It's 2 months late. I guess we should have done a Pride.
I know. Well, I was gone all of June.
Oh, yeah, you were. Well, we have her back now. And now we're going to ask her all the juicy questions. My last episode was about sex, and I went really in detail.
I started to watch it a little bit, and then I was like, I'll do that another time.
Honestly, maybe don't.
Do I need to? I don't know. Maybe do I need to hear my sister talk about that?
No.
Maybe. I feel like some families have really open relationships talking about sex.
Well, we have open relationship, but we don't talk about sex that much because our experiences are very different.
So different.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
I have sex with men.
Yeah.
You have sex with women. But I do want to ask you a lot of questions today about it. But let's just start, obviously, with the sexuality journey. Let's start when you first started to kind of realize, okay, maybe I'm not straight.
You know what? My very first thought was freshman year. I remember I shoved this down. I don't think I've told you this one. This is one that I don't talk about in interviews.
Oh my God. What?
But I really shoved this one down very far. So it wasn't like too conscious. It was basically I had a best friend in the pony club. And
what?
We would take naked showers together, but they weren't sexual, but it was a very close, intimate relationship. I feel like that is kind of common. A lot of girl friendships, you shower naked together. I don't know. Did you ever do that?
No, I have.
Yeah.
I've done that for sure.
But I do remember this is a classic thing where your best friend goes to Hawaii for 2 weeks in the summer and you're so sad because you miss her, right? I remember when she was going on this trip to Hawaii and I was devastated. I think I cried. I was really, really sad. And then I was like, am I a lesbian? Why am I so sad that she's going to be gone for 2 weeks? And then I was like, no. And then I literally never thought about it again until junior year of high school.
Whoa. So you had that initial thought though.
I did. I had that thought and I was like, no.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then the real, when I really started thinking about it was, I got really into high fashion models, and there's this one model named Freya Beha who was just
oh my God, I remember this.
She was so androgynous and so cool, and had this everyone was copying her hair at the time. It was this shaggy curly hair, and I was just oh my God, why am I obsessed with her? I was putting her on my binder all over my walls, and I was like, do I want to be her? Do I want to be with her? And then I found out that she was gay and she had a girlfriend who was also a model, and I was obsessed with both of them. And I think that was that, and then watching Glee and seeing Britannia and seeing 2 femme girls together, that was my awakening. And I was oh, that's what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
But I didn't have before that, when I would hook up with guys, which, I wasn't doing, I didn't do that much, but I definitely was just doing it to tell my friends about it. And I was I I don't know. This isn't that great.
Yeah. Well, I remember. Well, first of all, let's go back. Pony Club.
Pony Club.
I did not know this one.
Yep.
Can you tell me who it was? Not on here. What?
Yeah, I know. Isn't that weird?
You never told me that.
Because it was just we had this like really codependent friendship, which I think that's another really common thing with queer women. You have these like really codependent friendships.
Interesting.
But I didn't have a thought of like, I'm attracted to her or anything like that. It genuinely was just like, I needed to be around her.
Like you like had a deep emotional connection to like a female. Interesting. Do you think she felt that same vibe?
Well, I don't know. Maybe not in a queer way, but like,
didn't people at school say that you guys were together?
No. People at school said that she was gay,
but not you. They got the wrong one.
I know. It was, but like, and it was sad because it was like in a time when people would use the word lesbian as a slur against girls. It was like, oh, she's such a lesbian. And I probably did the same thing because I just like did not fucking know at that time. And I was just so ignorant, unaware.
It's such a crazy time. Like if your upbringing, like when the whole like legalized gay and like the gay pride parades and all of that went on, like you were really like, you saw that whole transition as you were coming out. You kind of went through it with the world in a way. Like
literally marriage was legalized. It was at 2012. Gay marriage.
2012?
When we went to the Pride Parade, wasn't it? I think that's right when it happened.
Well, I remember wearing the shirt. The American Apparel legalized gay on it.
Yes, that was such a good shirt. Such a shirt. Tank.
We need to find that again.
Oh my God, I hope I didn't sell that.
I know, I think I did too. That's like a time capsule
That's
piece.
a relic.
That should go in a frame, honestly.
Yeah, I gotta find that on eBay.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. Okay, so then.
Pony Club in general, by the way, is just like such a queer thing. Horse girls are queer. Like,
is it really? Like
kind of. It's like you're just like so nerdy and like a bunch of girls together all the time. I don't know. It's kind of like how dance is maybe a little queer too. I feel like Jordana had that experience.
I
feel like some of your people.
A lot of people do. Yeah. Actually. Yeah. A lot of people do. I didn't experience
Not all
it,
of
but
it,
I've heard many stories as well.
Yeah.
I think it's just like girlhood and like
totally. When you get a big group of girls together, there's always going to be some that are queer.
It's such a spectrum.
Yeah.
And girls are better anyways. So like, why not?
Exactly.
It just makes more sense.
It's like Catholic school, like girls going to Catholic school. Like there's always those experiences. Like, they're, like practicing or like, and then when girls practice on each other, it's like some realize that they're like, oh, I actually like
interesting.
This.
Yeah. Well, I guess we could talk about this later, but when I was little, and I've never even like talked about this with anybody, but when I was little, like elementary school with my girlfriends, we would fake like having sex.
No. I mean, I did that too with Sienna. Yeah.
I would do that all the time. Is this like really weird to say?
You,
or is it like one of those things?
No, that's such a
Yes, I would hump each other.
That's like child shit. It's just like things like feel good or whatever. You play doctor or like any of those things. I feel like that's such a
yes,
it's like embarrassing to talk about, but you're like so little. You're not like the thing is at that age, I feel like you're not even putting romantic attachment to it yet, or sexual. You're not sexualizing it really either. It's just like, oh, like this feels good, or this is like what people talk about in movies or whatever.
Right. You know? And you're just like innocently trying to be adult.
It's so innocent.
But I would do that. Yeah. I would do that. Anyway, whatever. So now I want to go into remembering me reading your journals. When Zoe was in high school, she had a boyfriend. Sorry.
Bleep the name.
Bleep the name. Okay. Zoe had a boyfriend.
It's so sad because we were never actually boyfriend and girlfriend. It was like a thing for years.
Oh, but you really wanted him.
But I liked him so much.
You really did.
Probably it was like because he wasn't giving that to me. Like he wasn't gonna like make me his girlfriend. It was like a safe thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You were like, oh, everyone can see that like
pursuing something, but it was safe because it was never actually gonna happen.
Did you know that you were doing it for like show, or did you actually want it?
I genuinely felt like I had feelings for him, but I didn't want to do anything about it. I didn't want to like do that much like sexual stuff.
Yeah,
you know. But I feel like I had emotions around it.
Yeah,
definitely.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
And then I read her journal where they had like some camping trip, and
no, I think it was Relay for Life, you guys, which is like literally a walk for cancer, but everyone would like hook up.
No.
It was so messed up. It was like everyone was like pitch tents, and it was like a cancer relay thing, and it was literally known that people would like hook up at Relay for Life.
That's terrible.
So messed up.
That's so messed up. Well, anyway, you had your first. Did he finger you?
Yeah.
He fingered you? How old were
Yes.
you? Like 16?
I think I was 16 or 15. 15.
Whoa.
15.
That's young. Well, at least to
Is
me.
that?
No,
Yeah.
I guess for normal.
15.
It's fine.
It was sophomore year. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then she wrote in her journal and she was like, and then he did this. And then he like sucked my tit and I felt nothing.
I was like, I felt nothing. I was just lying there. It was so awkward.
Yeah.
The best thing is I have kept a journal my entire life since the fifth grade.
Mm-hmm.
Every single day. Now it's a little more scattered, but I can literally like, it's the craziest thing to be able to like look back and see exactly like what I was doing on whatever day. And like, so you were able to
It's crazy.
read those journals growing up and see like what my mindset was.
I mean, she was an avid journaler. Like every night she would look up pictures or print out pictures from her week and put it up,
Oh my
like
God,
print it out
scrapbook.
on the family computer.
Yeah.
It was like, it was like you dedicated your life to this journaling.
I fucked up the color printer.
You really did.
Oh.
You really did.
Yeah.
But, okay. So that happened. All right, guys. If you know me at all, you know fall is my favorite time of the year, and I am not wasting any moment soaking it all in. That being said, you guys might be looking for some wholesome, convenient meals for jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, can help you fuel up fast with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. With summer coming to a close, I'm trying to spend every second I have outside. So something I love about Factor is I skip the extra trip to the grocery store, the chopping, the prepping, the cleaning up, while still getting the flavor and nutritional quality you need. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are ready in just 2 minutes, so all you have to do is heat and enjoy. I always find it so hard to find time to eat during the day, and it causes me to crash. I have less energy, and I simply just don't have the time to chop and prepare a meal. That's why Factor is so great, especially for lunch. You can get effortless, wholesome meals like grain bowls or salad toppers that are ready to eat when you're on the go. No microwave required. So you can head to factormeals.com/Luna50 and use code Luna50 to get 50% off. That's code Luna50 at factormeals.com/Luna50 to get 50% off. Thank you, Factor. And during that time, did you have any realizations like, oh, maybe I'm into girls? Like, was it ever in the back of your
No.
mind?
It wasn't in the back of my mind when I was like hooking up with guys. It wasn't. It was just like, I think I was just like, I don't know if maybe I'll like this more someday. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just not the right person.
Yeah.
I think that's what I thought more.
Yeah.
But it took me like seeing two like feminine girls like making out or like hooking up to like have that thought.
Yeah.
There was one other moment, this was like sophomore year, where I was taking a picture. I did photography and I took really like scandalous photos. And I was doing a photo shoot of like 5 of like the popular kids in my grade. And 2 of the girls in the shoot, they're all in jeans and like topless, but like holding themselves like this. And 2 of the girls in the shoot, without me even asking, just like started kissing for a photo. And I was just like, oh, this is really cool and aesthetically. I like this a lot. Like, like snap.
This is great.
Like, I really like this. This is awesome. Flash forward now, like every single music video I do, like girls making out.
Girls making out. I'm dead.
But,
well,
yeah.
It's also funny because you would only take photos of girls, and then your photo teacher gave you an assignment and was like, okay, now you have to take a picture of 2 guys or 2 boys, and she put one of them in like wrapped in cellophane and the other one was in drag.
Yeah. And he was the quarterback or something.
The quarterback.
Yeah. But people would do, I don't know why everyone trusted me and like wanted to take those photos and stuff
Honestly.
and how I got them to do it. But I just am very convincing person.
Oh, I mean, we know this about you for
Yeah.
sure. She can like get you to
Get
do
people
anything,
to do
honestly.
anything.
She's like, Luna, you're sitting down and you're going to sing on this live Instagram. Like, I was like, oh my God, like, no. She gets
It's a
you
talent
to do
of mine.
anything. It's true.
You got to make people think it's their idea, you know? That's
Honestly.
the secret. That's the secret.
Wow. Mastermind. Mastermind
I
over
am
here.
mastermind. Taylor Swift mastermind
I've
was
never even heard
my
you
song
say
of the
that.
album.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. So then weren't you Santana and Brittany for Halloween?
No, I literally wasn't even Halloween. I had a Glee. I was so obsessed with Glee. And it's funny because Juliet, who's my best friend and who's really straight, she was obsessed with Glee before I was even.
Mm-hmm.
And I made fun of her for it. But then I got obsessed with it because of Britney and Santana. And so I had a Glee themed dinner party and made all my friends dress as somebody from Glee. And me and Juliet were Britney and Santana.
That is so funny. And not even then did you think you were gay?
No, then I did. Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
you did.
Yeah. I knew at that point for sure.
That was in high school?
Yeah, that was I knew junior year of high school.
Oh, interesting.
Like end of junior year. And then I just like held it in. I told maybe 2 people senior year.
What was your like, okay, yeah, for sure moment?
I think it was Britney and Santana.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I remember journaling. I remember my first journaling was like I think I'm bi. Like I just like I'm attracted. Oh, there's a Rooney Mara and the girl with the dragon tattoo. I remember I was like thought she was really hot. There's all these like and then the Black Swan scene with Mila Kunis and Natalie Portman. Like all these things were happening that year, 2011, and I was like, I think I'm bi. I think I'm okay with that. Like that's fine. Like
yeah.
I could be bi. And then I literally remember that, like literally only a few pages later, I printed out a picture of Emily and Naomi from Skins, which is also like another huge like queer canon thing. And I'd watched all their scenes on YouTube, and I printed a picture of them and put it, and next to it said, "I'm gay." Period.
No. Oh my God. Honestly, those journals could become a series.
It's
or
crazy.
Like a teen movie for real.
To follow like the trajectory of my sexuality is so wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is so nuts.
Yeah.
Okay. When you did end up realizing that, did you struggle with a lot of internal homophobia, or were you like, oh no, like was it a negative thing?
I think I thought it was cool. I think I thought it was cool, but I knew that it wasn't cool where we were. So I was like, I know that when I move to New York, like it's going to be so accepted because it's like, I don't know, like all of the queer culture is just so cool. Like queer people just have like such good style, and like I feel like so much of like queer music and queer art is just so incredible, and so I just felt excited to like get to be a part of that world. And
sure.
And yeah, I don't think I think I was pretty stoked to be gay, honestly.
That's amazing.
Such an unusual experience.
It is an unusual experience.
Like obviously like in high school I was just like I had some turmoil in the beginning.
Right.
It was I was scared. I like didn't want to tell anybody, and I was afraid that like my friends wouldn't want to sleep over anymore, or like any girlfriends I had would think I was looking at them weird or whatever. Or like I was afraid to like change with people because I was like, I don't want them to think I'm like, look, or like even like, oh my God, if like girls just like hold hands and like walk or whatever, I couldn't do that shit because it's like it would mean way more. I would just like like I don't want to hold this person's hand. Like what if they think I'm like thinking this is I was so in my head about that stuff. So of course
so
that stuff sucked. But once I was like at NYU, I feel like I was pretty stoked to be gay, but I also attribute that to I had some amazing like queer friends at NYU off the bat that I was like I was just like, oh my God, what a cool hot person who's also gay, and I'm like, I want to be like her.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was lucky in that.
You had like the best place you could
and amazing
possibly
examples.
Go. Yeah. That's actually was a question on my list. Was like, I think a lot of girls or anybody are nervous to come out because they're like, oh, all my friends are gonna think that I've been into them this whole time, or now it's gonna like change the dynamic. I know like I have a friend that's in ballet who's gay, and it's like, oh my God, like now in these dressing rooms, like all these girls are gonna, what if they're uncomfortable? Like it just makes you feel so dirty and weird.
It does, and it's so silly because it's like if you're straight, you're not like looking at every straight guy's body and be like, oh my God, like
no, not at all.
You're not automatically attracted to every single person of the gender you're into, you know?
Yeah, 100%. That's so crazy. Did you have anyone like when you told them that said anything, or what did they say to make you comfortable? Or?
Yeah. So my 2 people, which I always say whenever, young people are asking me like, what's your advice for coming out? I'm like, choose like a safe person or a couple safe people that you can test it out on. And that's what I did. I think, beginning of senior year, I told Stephanie Minus.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I told somebody who was kind of like she was like the lesbian of our high school. There was like an out lesbian and an out gay guy that everybody knew.
Only 2.
Literally. I'm sure there were more, but they were like the token ones.
For sure. Yeah.
And so I told her, and I told one of my friends who I knew would be accepting, because we were like both obsessed with Gaga, and just like, and she was like out of the box, and And so I remember, though, the way that I told one of them was, at that point I'd gotten into NYU and I was doing like the roommate quiz. It was like it's called Room Surf, to like match you to your like top roommate match or whatever.
I remember that.
And one of the questions was, what's your sexuality? And it was like straight, bi-curious, bisexual, gay. And I put bi-curious, and that was the first time I ever like ever did anything like that. And it was such a big, I was like, oh my God, this is like a big deal. And I remember in like social studies class, I like DM'd on Facebook this like resident lesbian at our high school and said, like, just wanted to tell you, I just put bi-curious in this quiz. And she was like, oh my God, like, yes, like, go off, Zoe. Like,
wow.
She was like so happy for me. And it was cool because there was like this sweet few months or half year or something that only these two people knew. And I felt really close to them because of that. Like, I felt like they knew a part of me that nobody else did. And it was like, it was kind of nice, you know?
Huh. So cute.
Yeah. I remember another funny thing about Room Surf was like you could see like percentage of match that you were with other people. So you could kind of see if like you were matched up on certain answers. And there was a girl that I knew right away. I was like, I feel like I met her at a freshman send-off and I had a crush on her. Like I knew I had a crush on her right away. And then I went back to our like quiz and I changed my answers to try to see what her answer was for the sexuality one. And I found that her answer was also bi-curious. So I was like, oh my God, I have an in.
You're so funny. You're so funny. That's hilarious.
So funny.
God. Let's talk about trying to figure out if someone is gay or interested in you. Like that would be something if I like came out and went to like a bar or something, like to try to figure that out is so vulnerable and like scary.
It really is.
Tell me the tricks.
Okay, the tricks. Well, okay, yeah, definitely when I first came out, it's like so scary because everyone is assumed straight, you know, in our society. So when I first came out, I like really leaned heavily on apps, and like at the time it was OkCupid.
Stop.
OkCupid, and then Tinder had like just come around. So I was leaned heavily on those, and then there was one like lesbian bar in New York, and I was like still I think 17 or 18, and I had a fake ID, so I'd like go there with C. I remember my fake ID was so bad, and I got rejected once, and C like bribed the doorman with like brownies or something, like weed brownies. But yeah, so definitely like being in queer spaces, and like doing it online like took away the level of like feeling like I might be rejected or whatever. But now, I feel like you can just tell it's a way that a girl looks at you or like does like touches that are like feel different, like unnecessary, like physical touch. I think I said that to you once. What else? I go look. I feel like the best trick is to like go look at their Instagram and see who they're following, and if they're following like specific like gay artists or just things in like
who
gay canon. If they're following like Haley Kiyoko, or if they're following like King Princess or Shannon, my roommate, who like was so many people's gay awakening. I feel like those are some ones.
That's so crazy to be like someone's gay awakening. That's like a lot of pressure on her.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I mean, she literally was the reason why that so many people came out. I feel like whenever I'm with her, it's like there's somebody will come up to her and say that, or it's like they know somebody who came out because of her, because she was like, you know, a sorority girl in Texas and like talked about her experience. It just like resonated with so many people.
So crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, I feel like those are I feel like stylistically sometimes you can kind of pick up a vibe too, but sometimes you could be really thrown off, you know? Someone could have like a really lesbian style but not be
at all.
Yeah. But also I think there's like, I don't know, I feel like most people are a little bit open and fluid in 2023. So I think there's no harm in like trying. And if anything, like most women are flattered by being hit on by other women. Like it is a flattering thing, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's like, oh my God, a girl thought I was pretty. Even if you're not gay, you're like, oh my God, cute.
What's your like go-to approach if you wanted to find out and you're interested in someone?
My go-to approach? Well, I guess it depends in the context. I feel like I do like internet stalking.
Internet stalking.
Just like Instagram, like looking at their like old Instagrams or seeing like if they've had like other relationships in the past,
Right.
or like, yeah, seeing who they follow, like, or seeing the way that they like talk to me on DM.
But I mean, if you're unsure, like how do you like give that vibe that you were more interested in
That
them
I'm
more
interested,
than a friend?
then I
and you wanna
I would
know.
just flirt. Like,
What would you say?
what would I say? I would just be flirty. I don't know. Whatever. I would like respond to stories, or like, I don't know. I'll just be flirty.
Interesting.
I feel like you can, whatever, you know how to be flirty. Like, you just be flirty on DMs and pick
then
up
see.
and pick up what the vibe is.
But what if they're like flirty back, but they're
I don't know, that could happen too. I think that there's
Stressful.
literally no harm in trying. And I don't think I genuinely think like women are usually pretty kind to other women. So even if you were to like go for a kiss, and then the girl's like, oh, like oh my God, I'm so flattered, I'm straight. I feel like that's where I've never heard of a bad situation where a girl's like,
has that happened to you?
no. It's never happened to me. So use that as encouragement. I don't think I've ever had. I feel like I've maybe hooked up with girls who are leaning straight, but still that means they're a little queer.
Right, for sure.
But yeah, I don't think I've ever had a situation where I was like thinking someone was, but then they were straight.
Yeah.
There's been girls who've like played with me who are like straight,
Ugh.
you know, but who are like flirt because they think it's funny.
And then how do you handle that, or how do you know?
I just can tell at a certain point. I'm like, you're just
Really
talking. Yeah.
interesting.
Huh. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of fun. It adds a layer of like mystery to it all. you
Yeah.
know?
It's so complex.
But also especially if you're in a city, it's pretty, easy to find people. But also, yeah, I mean, the apps are like annoying and bad for so many reasons, but I think for queer people, they are really useful.
Yeah,
If you're scared of that level,
that makes sense to me.
just like break down that thing. Like, oh, I'm into you, you're into me.
Yeah, 100%.
You know? Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about your first like sexual or physical like experience with a girl.
Yes.
What was your first kiss?
Well, my first kiss was the girl, you guys, from Room Surf.
No way.
Yes.
The one that you studied.
The one that I studied, who I had a crush on from the freshman send-off. This happens when you go to college. I feel like to every girl, you like you find someone who's like your best friend right away, and you are together 24/7. And that happened with her. And the first month of me being there, we're like together all the time, and I just had the biggest crush on her. And I kind of knew she was queer. I think she had a boyfriend, and then they broke up pretty quickly. And then it was the eve of my 18th birthday. And I know. And you guys, the weirdest thing is that we didn't kiss. We just like touched each other's boobs.
What?
That was my first like experience with a girl. It was
How
really,
did that happen?
we were tickling each other's backs. And
Oh my God.
yeah, we were tickling each other's backs. And I think I was like kind of like on her side or something. I was like getting closer. And then she like took my hands and like put them on her boobs. And I was like, oh my God.
What did you do? Like you just sat there?
I literally just, yeah, it was awkward for sure. It was like weird. And then she like tickled my back, and then she like did the same thing. And it was just like, so I was like, okay. And then that was it. But then she slept over the next night as well. And then we like made out and like tried to do other stuff. And then she was like, we can like take it slow if you want. And I was like, okay, good. Because I was like too freaked out.
Terrified.
Yeah. But then that was my last, until a few years later, it was my last like moment with her. Because she like, yeah, she was a person who like hopped from friend to friend and person to person.
Oh no.
So that was my first like experience with a girl. So my first experience actually like fully having sex with a woman was not great. And like I felt really yucky about myself after and stuff. That might be internalized homophobia, but I also just think it was a situation where I like wanted to get it over with, and I don't think I was really into the person. And yeah, she was like she was a producer on a film that I was like PAing for, and she like gave me so much special treatment because like she liked me and whatever. And I was just like, okay. And then at the wrap party, we were flirting, and then I went home with her, and I just remember being like, oh my God, I'm not attracted. And she like took out her guitar, literally like the Barbie movie, you guys, like serenaded me, and it was bad.
No.
Really bad.
No.
And I was just like, everything you're doing right now is turning me off. And then we hooked up, and I was just like, I don't want to be here right now. This is so bad. I like hated it so much. And then I I literally remember the next day I borrowed my friend's like Supreme jacket that said fuck all over it, and I like posted a picture like putting my middle fingers up, and I was like, don't touch me, as my like caption. And I was like, after that I was like, I don't want to have sex ever again. I literally felt like gross. I felt like skeeved out.
I remember that post.
Picture. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you define, and I think people have this question a lot, is like, what do you define as sex when it's, you know,
Yeah.
obviously there's no penetration. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
What I'm
I think that sex is like when you're having an intimate experience with somebody trying to make each other come.
That's sex.
But I think you can have sex too without the purpose of coming. I feel like a lot of people don't come during sex, you know.
Most.
But I think if the intention is there, you're like naked with each other and like doing stuff and trying to do that, like that feels like sex to me. I feel like most of the time people know in their head when they're like, that was sex.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like there's times where, I don't know, people have very, very different parameters of what they think sex is. Sometimes something that I would consider to be sex, like one of my other queer friends would be like, no, I don't know if I would. For me, I wouldn't like consider that.
When was the first time a girl went down on you?
That night.
Really?
Yeah.
And the first time you did it?
Yeah.
Was that night?
Yeah. And
Interesting.
I hated it. Just because I didn't like her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you, were you scared of like, I mean, it would have been different if you like really liked the person, I
Yep.
guess, but like, were you scared that you wouldn't know what to do, or was there any
Definitely. I think I
Yeah.
read so many articles and shit on the internet or whatever. But the thing is, at the end of the day, every girl is so different. Like every girl likes something so different. So every
Yeah.
time like you start having sex with a new woman, you have to like, it's like literally like learning it all over again, which is kind of cool because there's not like specific tricks that just like work for everybody, you know?
Yeah.
Like every woman is so different. What they like is so different. So I feel like just like slow learning and like communicating and
Yeah.
asking if they like certain things or whatever is the best.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be easier too because you know what feels good on your anatomy.
So I can start. That's a good place to start. It's like you know what feels good on yourself. So like you can start there, and then you can like work your way into figuring out what's better or what they like for them. You know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What's like the next step? Is scissoring like a really big part of your of your experience? Like, was that like a big like thing that you did? Did you do that night as well?
No. I feel like, God, when did I do that for the first time? Like way later. I feel like that's just not that much of a thing. It feels like that feels like a foreplay thing, actually.
Interesting.
That's never like, actually, I came scissoring for the first time recently.
First time recently?
Yeah.
Oh my
You can't, usually it's like hard. It takes a long time. It would take like a way too long. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To
Interesting. Wow, we're getting all the tea today.
No, it would take it would just like for me, I feel like I've always thought of scissoring as like foreplay. And it's just like it's so hot. It's such a hot image and you're like face with the person or whatever. But it's like hard to like fully get there.
Yeah.
You know? Some people can.
Right.
But for me, I think it's harder.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've always wondered. About that.
Yeah.
Then obviously there's things that you can bring into the bedroom.
Oh yeah. Strap-ons. There's a million things.
When did you
like
oh God, I've never even talked about this with you.
strap-on? Get a strap-on?
Or like when did you first get into that? How much later did that come?
In my first like long-term relationship with
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, I feel like that, I don't know, I feel like that's a pretty common thing. I think the nice thing about long-term relationships is like I like learned so much about my sexuality and or just like sex in general in that relationship because it was like it felt like a safe place to like explore.
I feel like that's common.
Things and just try new things and see what I liked. And like I thought I didn't like internal at all because I had only had like one night stands or whatever with people and like they would do something right away and I was like like I don't like that at all. Like don't like do that.
Yeah.
But like with a partner that I loved and that I was like really attracted to, like it was, yeah. Then I realized that was not the case. But yeah, so I feel like it happened then. And then after that, I feel like it's not necessarily part of sex every time. When I was like going through my 3 years of just like random hookups and stuff, it wasn't part of it all the time. But sometimes it was, especially if it was like, I don't know, it was like the second or third or fourth time hooking up with somebody.
Then
sometimes.
it was. Interesting.
Yeah. It's just like it's another fun like element, but it's like kind of hard. it's like a lot of like exercise. And you're not getting like a guy, obviously, when he's like doing that, he's like getting like
pleasure off of it.
Yeah, like really, really physical pleasure.
Your pleasure, if you're doing it, is kind of just like seeing the other person do it.
Yes,
like interesting.
It's like also it's like hot. It's a really hot image, and it like turns you on, but it's like harder to. It's not like you're getting that like crazy physical like. You know.
So interesting. God, sex is so complex.
God, it really is, and everybody has it different. There's no right way to do it. I think another really nice thing. This is one thing that I feel like is I've noticed like as being a queer woman in the queer community versus like being straight, like some of the insecurities that you tell me about, just stuff with like the way you look down there, or like the way like your shape of your nipples or whatever. Like when you're like having sex with women all the time, like everybody's so different that it's just like you appreciate everything. Yeah, you're just like, oh my God, like it's so different. Cool. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like no one has it one way.
I mean, you're not gonna like judge another girl for something.
I'm also you're just pretty stoked
judging yourself about.
Yeah, you're also just like stoked to be doing. If you're like choosing to like get naked with somebody and like hook up with them, and you're doing it wholeheartedly, like you're just probably excited to be there 100%. With them. You know, you're not like, oh, their nipple is this.
Yeah, and if you were like that, or if they're like that, then like why the fuck are you in bed with them? Do you know what I mean? Like, and you shouldn't even think about it. That's what I said in my last episode.
Yes. So I feel like it made me way less insecure about my body, like having sex with women.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I said on my last episode too. Obviously, it's a lot different when it comes to straight sex and the whole experience. But like with my first boyfriend, who was the first one I ever had sex with, to like see him, I hated my body so much at the time and went through so much to see him be like, wow, you're so beautiful and like womanly and like that was like appreciated. Do you know what I mean? Like it obviously meant a lot for me, but I wouldn't say if you're so insecure to like go do that to get validation. Of course, find it within yourself first, but like it all also is something that's like really beautiful, you know? And that's like, yeah, it's another layer.
Yeah.
Of course.
Absolutely.
And always.
Like, obviously, you can find that self-love outside of a relationship, but I feel like it is a common thing that within a relationship, a healthy one, like, you start to appreciate those parts of your body and yourself.
Yeah, it's the human experience to, like, be attracted or be attractive to somebody. It's just, like, look at animals. It's just something we all like. Yeah. It just runs our world, love and attraction and procreating and all that.
Yep.
You know? Crazy stuff. Okay, something I do want to talk about as well is we were talking about it the other day and you were like, oh, it's so annoying. I just want to have my birthday, but all my friends like automatically have to bring their girlfriends, even if I'm not close to them because we're all girls. But like when I think about my experience with my friends and their boyfriends, they're obviously not coming. Do you know what I mean? But like with you guys, it's hard. What defines a girls' night versus a girlfriend?
That is
like... Talk about it.
That is, I feel like, one of the hardest things about being in a queer, not one of the hardest, but it is an annoying thing about being in, oh my God, sorry, in a woman-loving woman relationship, because there isn't that like that like the clear gender thing that is just like, okay, like boys night, girls night, whatever. I feel like a lot of the times you do become like your partner ends up just becoming friends with your friends and everybody is in a big friend group. And then all of a sudden it's just like the partners are always together in there. And then like the few single people in the group, it's like sucks for them because they don't get to like have just solo time with friends without the partners. And then, it becomes this like, I was thinking about that for my birthday, like doing a going away trip thing. And I'm like, oh, dang, like it ends up like stacking up the amount of people I would need to bring because like everyone kind of automatically it's like assumed that they would bring their partners. So yeah, I feel like that's a difficult thing. It's also difficult. It's weird because like me and my girlfriend Liz, we were in the same friend group before we started dating and we like were friends first. So now it's like I can't not invite Liz to things because like she was friends with like my friends also as friends before. She wasn't like brought in as my partner. She's had friendships with them,
so you're just automatically going to be with all of them all the time.
It just would be messed up if like we both were not invited to things or whatever.
Do you think that's what like expedites the whole like U-Haul lesbian thing? Of, like,
that could be a part of it.
Explain that.
So U-Haul, it's just like a cliche thing that happens, but I think that that genuinely, I forget what the word is, limerence, I think it's called. Something that happens between two women when they start being intimate right away, where it's just like it speeds, I don't know, the whole process of like falling, it feels so sped up. And yeah, and so that's just a cliche. People U-Haul, or like, it's like, oh, like we moved in together after 2 weeks. And I definitely know a lot of people who are like that. I've always been not that.
You've taken your time.
I take my sweet time because I know I like see what's going on around me, and I see that it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like usually U-Hauling, I feel like rarely does it actually end up in like a really good long-term situation.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So I'm like, okay, like if I can see myself being with someone for the rest of my life, I have the rest of my life to live with them and be with them. Like I don't need to do that right now. You know?
Wow, it's a good statement.
That's what I think about, you know?
Yeah.
Like, have you ever seen a couple that's moved in together like after a year and it's like made the relationship hotter and better and cooler?
I mean, yeah, I guess I can't like pinpoint it. But obviously every situation's different.
Every is different.
So
every
like
is different.
Situational, of course.
And
but
also, of course, there's like money shit. And like if someone's long distance and moving across the country, you're not going to like get your own, why would you like get your own place? It makes more sense to move in together. Like there are situational things, but I think for me personally,
you're just someone that needs to have like, you need to like build your own foundation. Also, you're so like,
it's also like nice to have your
and
own spaces, and it's exciting to go to each other, and you know,
100%. Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting though. What else are like, what are some hard things when it comes to being lesbian that like you think other people really don't experience? Obviously it's much more emotionally mature in a lot of ways, like two women.
That's which is one of the
crazy
nicest
to me.
things though, is like communication. Like if there's an issue,
better.
you can just like talk about it.
Right.
It's like, and you both can just talk about it.
Yeah.
And you know, obviously there are women that are toxic and bad too. But like, yeah, I feel like a lot of the times, just in my experience in relationship with women, it's like if something's going on, like just bring it up and you can like talk through it, and it's, I don't know, it's nice.
Much more, understanding.
But yeah, what are other things?
Well, let's talk about this. If your cycles aren't linked, then there's only technically 2 weeks out of the month that you can have like clean-ish sex. And also moodiness. Are you linked? Are you guys synced together? No.
We have been at one point, but mine is so irregular and hers is like so regular. So it's always me jumping around.
Right.
But that kind of does suck. Obviously, like you can have sex on your period. But a lot of times it's like I don't necessarily want to because I just feel like yucky, or I just feel I'm bloated, I'm emotional, I'm not feeling good.
Yeah.
And vice versa, like for her. So yeah, that is a bummer. And sometimes it's like, especially for me, I'm traveling a lot or like doing tour and stuff. It always like ends up being where it's like our 1 week that we, you know what I mean? It's like somebody's on their period, or like, or like going on vacation. It's like somebody's always, one of us is always on our period. But yeah, but I feel like it's just like you work around it. And especially if it's only one of us, then it's like, okay, it's like more if it was on the other person then. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense then.
Yeah. I remember one time you've said to me that you're like, if I was gay, I think I would be like upset. Mm-hmm. And like just like internalize homophobia from like society and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why. Like, I've always obviously wondered it growing up with a sister who was so open about it. I was like, oh, well, maybe I could be too. And I've always, obviously, in high school, I wasn't like that hypersexual, so into guys and boys. And I was like pretty much asexual. I just didn't think about it at all, like as early as people did. So I always thought like, oh, am I lesbian? Am I like, I'd write in my journals, I'm like, I don't even want like marriage. I'm not into anything. Like, I don't want anyone to touch me. Like, ew, am I lesbian? Like, I don't know why. That's like the first thing my mind went to. And of course, I'm open to like experiencing that. But I do think if the answer was yes right now, I would be like sad about it.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that is, since I've never had anyone to be like judgmental to me about it, or like, obviously I have the best example and my family, everyone's so accepting of it. So I don't know why that would be.
Has to be a society thing.
Yeah. And I think I was also, it's definitely a society thing. And I think also I was raised in ballet, which is so like feminine, like hyper feminine, pink, and like, I don't know, to me, well, technically that should be like, should make it more, I don't know. I think for me, obviously, I've had a lot of issues with male presence in my life that maybe you didn't have as much growing up, that I think I crave male validation so much.
Yeah.
So much. Like more than I wished I would admit. Do you know what I mean? Like everywhere I go, I want everyone to be in love with me. Like every male to be in love with me at all times. And it like means the most to me when I have. But for you, obviously you don't. Do you crave male validation in that way?
No, not in the slightest.
You never did. Yeah.
No. I don't even think I care if, I mean, maybe on a little level, care if a guy thinks that, like, I feel like just being a girl in this society, like you're literally taught to care if men think you're hot. So I'm sure that's in me somewhere, but like I don't think I have that.
Yeah.
I don't dress
as much.
I don't really care. I think, I don't care if guys think I'm hot, and I don't care if they like how I'm dressing. And
yeah, to you, it's just whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I have that so heavily, but
yeah,
I feel like that could also affect it. I'm not really sure exactly, like, I can't pinpoint exactly what it is. Obviously, I'm open to, like, experiencing if that happens, you know what I mean? I've never been in a situation where I'm, like, wanted to try that, you know what I mean? And I'm not closed off to it, but right now I'm attracted to men, like, even at a time in my life when, in high school, when I wasn't really into anything, like, the first thing I was instantly attracted to was like a man, and that was my first boyfriend and whatever, so it's definitely in me, you know what I mean? I don't think I would be fully lesbian, but I think there's always like something in me that thinks, oh, I could definitely try that. I'm just not sure. It's gonna take time. I'm not like
totally
there yet to label or do anything like that yet, you know.
You should read the not saying that it's the Am I Lesbian Master Doc, just because some things in it. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
It like went viral on TikTok over the pandemic. But there's a lot of girls just realizing their queerness because they just realized that a lot of their desire for, like their desire for men was for male approval and not actually beyond that. It wasn't like, you know, which I'm not saying that that's you at all. I'm saying that there's like, it would be interesting for you to like start thinking about what comes from like just your desire for male approval versus like,
right,
you know.
Yeah, no, it's super strange.
Yeah, because that is such a it's a classic common thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I don't know, we'll see. I now have more knowledge on all of it, so you know, it would make more sense for me to be, but, you know. Do you have any final words or advice for people?
Yeah, final words or advice. If you're just figuring out your sexuality, don't put too much pressure on yourself to like label yourself right away. Also, if you don't like labels, like that's fine too. Obviously coming out is still an important thing in our society because people are still assumed straight. You know, it's not like completely normalized yet. And until it's totally normalized, like coming out is important, but it's, you know, up to every person. And if you don't feel like you want to come out or like don't feel like you want to label and you're just like gonna love who you love, and that's fine too. But yeah, and if you are in a place where you feel unsafe to come out, just find your online community. I feel like it's such an amazing, it is a great time. It's a great and a bad time to be queer, right? Like obviously in our country, it's like very scary and there's a lot of anti-LGBTQ bills being put forward and like so much discrimination happening. So that's really scary, but also for representation, it's a really exciting time to be queer. And I think for young people, they get to have, you know, just like to get to see like other queer people live their lives on TikTok, like around the world and around the country is so cool because it's not just like glamorized versions of queerness. It's like you get to see like a queer 15-year-old in Kansas or like, you know, it's really exciting.
We're all in such a transitional like period right now.
Completely.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And I think there's never been more, you know, representation, queer representation in music and in film and in TV, and like there always could be more and better versions of it. But even like Heartstopper, like it's so cute and so exciting. You know that show?
No.
What? Heartstopper on Netflix.
Did you see it already?
I'm on the set. They just released the second season.
What is it about?
The first season?
No.
It's just two gay. It's like very Love Simon-esque, but really it's super cute. It's British. It's
my God.
Yeah.
I think I've heard of it.
Yeah. It's really, really cute. It's so funny. I saw a tweet yesterday that was like, so funny that the leading like gay show in the country right now is like just two boys falling in love and navigating high school, and then the leading like lesbian show is like a team of soccer players get stranded on an island and start cannibalizing each other.
Oh my God.
Yellow Jackets.
Wait, really?
That's and that's like the queer woman show.
Of
It's like,
course.
of course,
Of
like
course.
God.
We can never win.
It's like, give us just, why can't lesbians have just like a really nice normal high school? I'm gonna give it to them.
Yeah.
I am.
You are.
My movie.
Your movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Incoming.
But
Stay
yeah.
tuned.
But those are my words of advice. Be easy on yourself and find your safe people that you feel good around and that make you feel the most comfortable to be your authentic self.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you, sis.
Thank you for having me.
All right. We're going to film so many more episodes. So you guys have any topics you want me and Zoe to talk about, comment them below. And thank you for coming on the pod. Love you guys.
Love
Bye.
you. Bye.